right, welcome back to Shall You Proceed podcast. I'm here again, Erlene Mango, aka Elise Main, and I have a wonderful guest with me today. I've been trying to collab with this gentleman for quite some time, but you know the virus shut us down and other things shut us down. But we're gonna make a way. You know, we as a people always make a way. So I have with me today Kenny Franklin from the Matt Black podcast, which is one of my faves right now. It's really one of my faves.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. You're the host, you're curator, creator of the show, rapper, public speaker, motivational speaker, blogger, photographer.
Something like that.
You're like jack of all trades. You know what I mean? And you mastered quite a few of them.
I try. I definitely try.
Welcome to the show. Welcome. First time guest. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. That was a great intro. I don't think I can do one or get one better than that. So I appreciate you for that.
You're so kind. That you must be exhausted.
Yeah, something like that. Let's get into it, man. How you been? What's going on?
I'm good. Just staying obedient for everyone, including myself. It's not really about what I think or what is going on. I'm in a better situation than most, so I'm just going to do what I have to do to make sure my family is safe and everyone around me that I care about is safe, and and I don't get ill at some point in time. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm trying to do. Just maintain like everyone else. How about you?
Yeah, man. Trying to stay safe. You know, I've realized that. So I transitioned to Houston from Florida, and Florida is really just doing they're
doing the most. They're doing the most.
Ooh, yeah. So a lot of my family is still there, and they have seen the chaos of people at beaches, people at stores, nobody being cautious or protective of themselves. So it's been a whole mess. But I mean, I've been good over here. I've been in the house more than I would care to, but if it keeps me safe, I'm good.
Now, how long have you been in Houston?
2 years.
Okay.
2 years. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, because you're from Florida and you've been here 2 years, do you feel that your mentality would be different if you were still there, inside looking in at it, or now you're looking at the outside, how, because now you're Houstonian and you're seeing things happen there. It's like, that's where I live, that's where I'm from, that's how you acting?
Well, here's the thing. Even people in Florida know Florida's crazy. Like that, like that's not just the Charlemagne or Breakfast Club thing. It's not just like a thing that's said from people. Like, we know Florida is ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mess with people too heavy like that, especially knowing that people are ridiculous out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't have been at the beach. I wouldn't have been doing nothing crazy like that either. So nothing's really changed on that part. But seeing it, being outside of it, you always get a better perspective, and it looks even crazier outside of Florida than it does in Florida.
Sorry, I know we probably look crazy in Texas. Like, oh, y'all opening up, y'all?
I still can't believe that. We'll see though. We'll see what happens.
I heard on the news that I think the governor of Vegas, the mayor of Vegas, or the governor of Nevada wants to make it like a test subject city where they don't do any distancing. Like, why are you testing your people? Like, what are you doing?
Well, you know what's so funny? I heard about that too, but you know what they said? They said that the NBA is trying to make a comeback. So that's one of the cities, or, Vegas, the whole Nevada itself, they may spread it out throughout Las Vegas, however they decide to do it. But Las Vegas is one of the places they're trying to see if it's a safe zone for them to bring the entire league, quarantine them in different hotel rooms, and resume play. So I think that's also part of the whole craziness that's at play with them doing that. I still don't think it's smart, but
to me, it's just them trying to recoup their money in Vegas, because Vegas is a moneymaker year round.
Facts.
And this time of year, they have a lot of things going on. Plus, Coachella's so close to Vegas, so you have people who kind of hop back and forth. Weddings happening in Vegas around this time of year, and their shutdown is hurting them. So if I bring everyone in the NBA and put each team in a different hotel and let you play your season out in my city, their owners have to pay you. So you're going to recoup whatever you think you're lost. It's just all about a moneymaker. Everything they're trying to do is a moneymaker. I understand People have lost their jobs, they're furloughed, but this is not a isolated situation where it's a hurricane where people like looking at it happen to people, or tornadoes or earthquakes where like, oh, it's them. So even on the news during weather and you're in Houston and they're like, okay, well, it's not going to come this way, so let's not worry about it. So everyone has had their own disasters in life, every part of this world, but it's always been them. Now this is a global situation, and it's really exposing what's important for people. And that's the people who, that 1% who owns everything, is losing money right now.
I would agree.
Because your essential workers, those companies are making money. Yeah, Walmart, Target, the grocery stores, they're going to make their money. And that keeps a small percentage of the workforce working. If you think about it, hospitals, it is what it is. That's 24/7. But if I own a company that's private sector that relies on my regular workers to work and they can't, or I need you to spend money for me to make money, and you're not making, and I'm not making any money, I want you working while you're sitting at home, isolated in your big home, and nothing's happening to you.
Oh yeah,
I
but
mean,
let's keep it real though, right? Let's have a real conversation.
okay.
Do we really believe that they care about lives like that? Like I don't know if it's true.
Absolutely
So
not.
absolutely, right? So we can agree that this isn't about, oh, let me preserve the lives of people,
They're
or let
not
me think
preserving.
about.
They don't give a damn. They don't give a
No,
damn.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. So for them, it's more about, like you said, am I making capital or am I not making capital? You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, am I in the green or the red? So because we know it's a numbers game, you know, we even had, I don't know if you heard about this, but Hobby Lobby, that whole situation where the owner of Hobby Lobby was telling them, hey, y'all got to report the work. Y'all got to report the work. And they were like, well, you know, it's getting bad. And he was like, nah, like report the work. And so it got so bad that there were multiple cases at different stores of Hobby Lobby where there was an outbreak happening. And he still refused to close. And so obviously the government had to shut him down, things of that nature. And now they don't know if they'll be back in business. You know what I mean? But that just goes to show you, they don't care. They don't
And
care.
the funny thing is, I think people, it's I find it hilarious because people are fighting for it's my right when we've been fighting. People of color have been fighting for their rights forever, so we're used to fighting. Like this is not a new fight. Like, oh, okay, we fighting again. Okay,
right.
but you fighting with us, huh? Because
Right.
this is not a racial thing. This fight is not a. People can't even say I'm fighting because of this color of my skin. They're just fighting for fighting purposes. Like, what are you mad about? And it's so funny to me, the people who are fighting to. It's interesting to me that people aren't realizing there's categories in doing what you want to do. And right now, you may want to do what you want to do, but what you're going to do may cause another wave of foolishness because we didn't take it seriously back when it started in December 2019. And you had our political leaders and you had Fox News talking about it's a hoax, it's a ploy by the Democrats, nothing's real, because of course it wasn't here.
Right.
So when it's not here, no one cares. You know what I mean? But when people start shutting down my social life, no one gave a damn until their social life got shut down. Think about it.
Oh yeah.
They didn't care. I can't go hang out. I can't brunch. I can't rodeo. The rodeo hurt. The rodeo thing hurt me because not me, but what I mean is I know from living here all my life, there's people who rely on that revenue to survive for the year. So those vendors are the ones who've lost. But at the end of the day, they had to pay for their spot to be there. The committee for the rodeo will always survive. You know what I mean? Because
100%.
they've been doing it for so long. Smaller festivals like in Austin, they may not because they rely on so much people to come into the city and do, like Austin's a tourist town, college town. San Antonio, tourist town, all those things. So Houston will always thrive, but now the oil and gas industry is hurting and we're big oil and gas industry. But that was going to happen anyway in a way before coronavirus had hit. You know what I mean? it was already, that's always been up and down for the past few years, right? So you can't blame this on that. But I think what's happened is it's a global situation where, do I eliminate my workforce and get everyone sick so I have no one to hire, or do I sit everyone down for a second, let this at least kind of sort of pass and then pick back up? The problem is there's nothing in place to say, you know what, across the board, don't worry about these responsibilities. Don't worry about your mortgage. Don't worry about your rent. Don't worry about that. Just only worry about feeding and your health, your medicine and your health care. We're going to suspend mortgage. We're going to suspend rent. We're going to suspend all utilities. Suspend it. If no one has to pay right now, who is it hurting? And you work on and you still work. I think there'd be enough people out there to work to keep things going. And now if I had to worry about paying certain bills, I'll go ahead and volunteer if that was my job, to make sure water was clean and your lights are still on. You know what I mean? Because I know the benefit is I don't have to worry about this bill coming to me later on.
Right.
There's things in play. We're supposed to be the richest country in the world. And right now, what happened, in my opinion, is companies are like furloughing people, letting them go, like a big jump in unemployment. People got laid off like 2 weeks ago. So now all those people are now applying for unemployment. So I got to pay you unemployment?
Right.
And that company always is robbing Peter to pay Paul. Our society is always reaching and taking from here to make things work. So we're really not that wealthy. It's like we're going to take from this pot to that pot to make that work. And now like every pot is exhausted. We're like, well, shit, I don't want to keep paying you unemployment.
Right.
I just sent you $1,200, or I sent your household, which is still $1,200 per person if you married with some kids, and you try to eliminate folks to make a certain amount of money. Granted, there's a big percentage who make a lot of money, but there's still a big percent who do not make six figures, who do not make even $30,000 a year to survive. Yikes. And you sent them $1,200 a month for 1 month, and some are still waiting on that check. So let's open back up for what? For them to spend the money that's a loan on their own money anyway. And also, you suspend paying back financial aid. That should have been happened a long time ago. The federal government takes thousands and millions a month from people who are trying to pay back those student loans. But all of a sudden, you can afford to suspend it for 6 months. Just eliminate it.
Yeah, man.
Eliminate it.
Yeah, you've definitely said a mouthful. So I think a few things to touch on. I think that we're now finding out that we've believed in illusion for a long time as it regards the economy, and the way that money is circulated and how rich we claim to be. Now, obviously, we're blessed to be in a position of not be in a position of a third world country. However, we've been living off of borrowed money for a long time.
Oh, yes.
Right. We've technically been living in a functional dysfunction for a minute as well, and we've operated in what I would consider a progressive recession. So we owe so much money. We can't print more money, or else the value of our money would go down.
Right.
And so we're in the pockets of other countries to disrupt what they have in order so that we can keep our status quo. So that's the problem economically. I think the problem we're seeing moving forward as it pertains to relationally and people's, like you touched on, like people's way of life. There was this video I put up today about, these white nationalist dudes who were outside, men and women talking about, we're fighting for our rights, and, we have the right to go outside, and prolonged isolation is slavery. And I'm like, prolonged isolation is slavery. So hold on. Let me just say this.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So here's the thing, right? So we've been arguing for a long time that the issue of racism, the issue of systematic injustice or oppression, is not a political issue, but a human dignity and rights issue, which should never be politicized, right? So we're talking about a people group who is literally living in I guess a marginalized or disenfranchised way simply because of the color of their skin or lack of opportunities being afforded to them because of the color of their skin. That's a major problem. We shouldn't make it a political issue or red or blue or Republican, Democrat, none of that. It should be, hey, this is a human being, and so on the human being level, there's sort of, if there's no longer a physical slavery, which America is known for, which chattel slavery, of course, we can walk through that history. Then there's a mental slavery that still takes place, where blacks in America don't feel as though they have the freedom to progress or aren't getting the opportunities to progress, or there are systematic things, whether that be our prison system, our education, or will you keep us from the housing perspective, economically, things of that nature that keep us in a social class and construct that keeps us down, right? So we've been arguing that, and if you notice, people, white people have been struggling to hear us in that regard. I don't quite get it. Can you explain it to us? There's been white people who have been totally oblivious that this is even going on with the black community. But now, because you can't go outside due to a national medical crisis and pandemic that is literally affecting lives and is killing people, you're going to equate that to slavery. It just goes to show the white privilege that exists, and the privilege to be ignorant until it affects you. It's go ahead. I know you have something to say, so go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
and I totally agree with you, but I also think the other layer to it is this: if you take away, because what you said was, in my opinion, spot on. But let's take away. This is why I've always said, people who fight right now for justice and rights have no idea how to fight because they've never experienced what true fight and injustice is. And the reason why I say that, we have people who look like you and I who are saying, I can do what I want to do. Let people do what they want to do. Let them go where they want to go. It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. I don't understand. See, because you never had to really fight for anything. You know what I mean? You don't know what it's like to be hosed down, to be hung up, to be drug out because you're fighting for something that you believe in. That makes sense. Common decency is what we fought for decades as a people of color. Common decency.
Yeah.
When the world wasn't dealing with a pandemic, and when it was dealing with pandemics, when we've had health crisis over the years, I mean, it's happened because as medical advances happen, things kind of go away. We were tested on. We were the guinea pigs.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So why would you want to now still be a test subject in some kind of way? Walking out the door and living life like it's normal right now, you are voluntarily being a fucking test subject.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Let me just say one thing real quick. I think that if there were any time in our society where I wish black people's thoughts on an issue were a monolith, like we all thought the same thing, it would definitely be now. Because anytime it's like even the white nationalists, like that video is out and it's viral and it's on ABC and all that good stuff and people see it. But there's still a sentiment where when white people act up, they're never considered in the same light as black folks, right?
Absolutely. No,
and we know that. Yeah.
It's like it's okay.
Right, we know that. So wait, real quick. So here's the problem, though. Here's the problem, and I want you to speak to this because I think you'll kill this. The problem for me is the fact that we're not a monolith. We don't all feel the same about this issue, and there are black folks wilding out, still outside, going against curfew, things of that nature. It makes us be magnified even more because instead of the video that clearly shows grown behind white people out here with picket signs talking about slavery, will be dwarfed or minimized in light of the fact that black people are still out here running around, going to the beaches, doing their own version of Summer Jam and concerts and things of that nature. So because of that, I feel as though like how do we rectify that, right? I guess my question for you is, what does it look like? Because we're not going to be a monolith on any issue, including this one. But what does it look like for us to be, I guess, or I guess maybe I should frame it this way: is it even our responsibility as black folks to be above reproach in this situation or issue, or do we just have to kind of allow things to take its course? Like that's where I'm at. I'm asking that question.
I think it's hard because I don't think anyone's above anything right now, because it's not just one going through it.
Right.
And I think people only understand the arrogance of people in this world who are so far removed in their minds from struggle of any kind, injustice and prejudice of any kind, racism. They're so far removed from it across the board when it comes to ethnic background. They weren't in the midst of it, so they don't understand the sacrifices that you have to make. I think for us, we have to stop fighting about petty shit off top before we can even come together on anything. And that what I mean by is, who cares if I go to church on Sunday and you don't? Who cares if I read the Bible and you don't? Because right now we need to find a common ground in this fight.
Yeah.
Because right now it is proven our health is weaker in some areas than other ethnic groups.
Yeah.
In the United States. Take away color. If you live in poverty, if you're making less than a certain amount of money a year and you have to take care of your family, you're living in poverty. So you have to make a choice between health and food, health and utilities, health and whatever. You are at risk.
Yeah.
And the rich do not give a damn about the at risk. If you can eliminate those factors, you will feel society is going to be better. What I mean is those percentage of people who want to open up what's going on. We as a people have to stop fighting about petty nonsense and look at the bigger picture. We're dying at alarming rates right now because of coronavirus. New Orleans is under attack with the virus, but they took longer to shut down and to close up. And those people aren't even listening. They're still second line and doing their thing out there, and it's spreading.
Yeah.
And people are
man.
dying. I know friends who have lost people in the area because of it. I think what we have to do as a people is focus and stop trying to leave each other behind, outdo each other, put each other down, and realize we have a common fight overall, and that is existence and not elimination.
Yeah.
And all the other stuff is not important. Vegan, not vegan, church, not church, faith, whatever that is, it's not important.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, right now, we need to band together as brothers and sisters, and how can we help each other get through this? Don't follow along the foolishness.
Yeah.
Don't be, I only got to worry about me. You need to get back to the village mentality of we in this together. One has to take care of the other. You know what I mean? And go along with the nonsense that you're seeing on TV. Of course, we got to open back up. I need to work. Da, 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 da. If we were still in the village mentality, you would never go hungry. You would never be left behind. And we see glimmers of that during this time when people are like, hey, my neighbor, I'm going to the store. I left a note. You need anything, I'll put it on your front porch. Hey, whatever you need, let me know. If you're not working right now, you need groceries, let me know. Your children need help with school, I'm a teacher, let me help you out. Community has been rebuilding, but from the time you hear open back up, we're breaking back down. And that's a problem.
It's true.
And we're feeding into the foolishness of other people. Well, let them do what they want to do. What they're going to do will harm us as well. That's the problem. That's the problem. I don't know what we can do. I don't even know how to answer, because what you asked is a legitimate question, but I have no idea how to even answer that or make it make sense, because it comes down to logic, common sense, and just like, do you see yourself?
Yeah.
What we have found important is highlighted more than anyone else.
Yeah, I think that we're in a unique space where I was watching this talk on Revolt TV. You probably caught it, or maybe caught some remnant of it, with T.I., Killer Mike, and a few politicians from the Black community, and they were talking about how we have a responsibility in this year's election to do A, B, and C. And Killer Mike stopped them and was like, "Hey, there's a bigger issue. The issue is that we have Black people on both sides arguing who has the best master. Like, we have to stop doing that." You know what I'm saying? And so I would go a step further. This isn't really political, because I feel like what you talked about is even bigger than like who we choose as president, but it's more about what we do as a people in a society, and how not only how we're viewed, but how we progress moving forward. So the issue is, I think that we don't have to agree on everything.
Nope.
But we do have to agree on, like you said, how to survive. But before we can agree on how to survive, we have to be in mutual agreement that there's actually a problem.
Absolutely.
So there's no change, there's no progression moving forward if you don't feel like you need to progress, right?
Well, the problem with that is this, though.
Yeah.
We have it's embedded in us to leave each other behind. It's embedded. We are survivors naturally, but as you and I know, both from just school and education, some things can be bred out of you, right?
Yeah.
And we carry the history of our ancestors no matter what. And we went from warriors to survivors, right? And then it's always about, I need you to get out. I'll stay behind. I need you to get out and do better. And don't look back. When you plant that seed of don't look back, you have planted something that will now carry to what you have going on. We have been fighting for the longest to sit at places, to be at places that was never made for us. But we were also taught, I'm going to sacrifice so you can get out. Leave me behind. Don't worry about me, and get out. And once you get out, you need to fit in. So,
wow,
that's what we're battling. That's why we battle right now in our community, because people are getting out and trying to fit in, and then realizing you're not welcome. You're never going to be welcome. We will never look like you, act like you, be like you, because you've tried to suppress everything about us that's beautiful and that is strong.
Well, that comes from believing a lie, though, or that's perpetuated, that for some reason we're making up this level of discord, systematic oppression, racial tension. That listen, hey man, you got a Black president. Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice have been in leadership. There's grants. There's Black women are the most graduated of any people group in the entire the entire country. So all of these things that you're talking about, man, don't worry about that. You do fit in. You are progressing. There are things that are happening, right? And so because that's being perpetuated, and they're throwing out everything that's good while tucking away the bad, we can't agree that there's a problem to progress, right? So I think we have to first start a couple places. We have to mutually acknowledge, all of us together, and this is going to be no easy feat, but acknowledge that, hey, listen, though we've advanced, we're not advancing on an equal playing field. So there's a difference between advancement, and then there's one thing to say, okay, we're both moving across the board, but we're coming into the game late and behind, and we're made to stay that way continually, right? So that's the first problem. Once you can admit that, then we have to say, okay, now that we all agree that there's a problem, how do we as a people group collectively progress, and what are we looking for? So you can't just begin to walk aimlessly. There needs to be a direction that says, what is our agenda? What do we want? And what would equality, progression, human dignity and worth, what would these things look like for the Black community on a large scale? And can we agree on that? And so I think if we can start in those two places, we'll begin to see the type of change, the type of progression, the type of steady movement in somewhere positive moving forward. But I think we have to start there. We have to start having those conversations.
I fully agree with you, but it also goes back to eliminating the mentality of it's okay to follow someone, and it's okay to lead people.
Mm.
and it's not about status and the battle of who's going to be in charge. Put that aside, because once again, that was planted in us to compete. Once you take people's children from them, once you take your husbands away from them, once you make me see you be belittled and broken down, once I separate you because of skin color here, because I'm gonna make you feel like you're better and you're worse, you already built in and planted the seed of division. We have to realize that and acknowledge that that was planted. Now let's get past that and let's realize the bigger picture, because we're still doing it in many ways. I work hard, nobody else working hard. We all have different skills. We all come from different things. If you think about ethnically, the variety of ethnic groups in Africa and what their skill set was, we're not all going to be the same. So let's realize, let's find what let's get together, take all that away, get back to community, realize we're all in this together. We're stronger as one, like you say, and go from there. But we can't follow suit. We can't follow what somebody else is doing. This is one time in our lives. You can't follow what Karen doing. I know they don't like that word. They try to say it's a that's a whole other conversation.
Right.
Karen is offensive. Listen, we can't follow Karen and Becky. Or Tom and John. Okay.
Right.
We can't follow them.
That's true.
On this shit, because our fight is not the same fight.
Yeah.
Our minorities are the ones working these essential jobs right now. We have more nurses who are of color. If you think about it, minority nurses, cleaning the hospitals, minorities, Hispanic, Black, from different countries. Our doctors are minorities. Working at Walmart and Target, those part-time jobs are either young kids and they're minorities. Fast food, minorities. In the kitchen of the restaurant is all Hispanic people cooking our food, minorities. Who's out there every day, immune system getting low because they're working, trying to make ends meet. All of these things are minorities. So we just have to, I don't know how to change it. I don't know. I have no answer.
Yeah.
I just have frustration, and I'm just willing to do whatever I need to do to make sure it gets better. But one thing we have to do is put aside the foolish and the petty and focus on what's important.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Obviously I don't know if there is, because these issues are multifaceted. I don't know if there's one answer, right? I don't think anybody has just one answer, but I do think that, like you said, it's going to start with us acknowledging our history, and saying, okay, that's our history. Let's move past it, right? How do we progress? Number two, I think it's then at that point coming together, like you said, putting away some of the petty issues, but in redirecting our attention to what's really important. And then three, having the types of conversations that instead perpetuate who's the entrepreneur, who's growing their business, who's getting the bag, who's making money. We're perpetuating that a lot, and that's great. Listen, I love to see my people doing well. At the same time, that's not the most important thing we can be talking about right now. How about we talk about, okay, in light of me making the bag, this is how we pour back into our communities.
Yes.
In light of me making the bag, in light of me pursuing these things, this is how we create funding for things that we lack, such as housing, education, resources for wealth to be gained throughout an area that's been marginalized financially through socio-economical status. Like, let's put the conversation where it needs to be. And so
Absolutely.
I do think it is I'll go as far as to say it's a slave mentality, like you said, that we've been conditioned to be so competitive that we believe that our own personal grind is the main grind that we need to be concerned with.
And I think it's all about breaking the conditioning. We have to and realize that even though we're in 2020 and we personally have not grown up in that, we have to break the condition and also realize everyone's makeup and history is not the same. Like,
absolutely.
my family from the Caribbean, my family are not African-American people. They're African-Caribbean. St. Lucia, Trinidad, St. Croix, all them places.
Yes.
I don't have that same attachment that you may have whose family lines are here. Slave ships hit Trinidad and St. Lucia, the Caribbean. That's where my stuff starts. So our my mindset is different. But at the end of the day, instead of knocking down the Tyler Perrys who build the table and say, let me show you how to build one and sit in mine, let's uplift and realize that we are in this together. Let's break what was put in us unnaturally and broken in us. Let's not fight each other and realize because at the end of the day, there is not a political person in any part of this office who's there for us. So stop asking what to do for Black people. What are you going to do? Because it always starts in grassroots. Every movement that has been successful started with the unknown.
Yeah, I would go a step further though. Okay. I would say that it's a slave mentality for us to continue to think that we need someone else to come behind us and do the work that we can possibly do ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
So there's this reality where we're looking for a political figure to come and say, how can you save us, right? Because we don't necessarily have the belief in our own people that we can get something accomplished. However, we built an entire country, right? Yeah. So we need to realize like okay, we were enslaved, we were put into a position to think that we were less than, but in the middle of that, we also built wealth for millions of white folks, built an entire country, created infrastructure beyond anybody's belief. And when we stopped working, they had to rely on machines because they couldn't do it themselves. Like we have the capabilities to perpetuate the type of change that we're looking for. Maybe if we started looking stopped looking outside and started looking inside for our own solutions, progressions, and things of that nature to how we can band together and create the type of opportunity we're looking for, we wouldn't ask questions like, what candidate is there doing something for Black people for the Black agenda? Because truth be told, we're not unified enough yet to even know what the Black agenda is. That's almost like a spark word, right, that we throw out there. Yeah, man, I just want some candidate who's concerned with the Black agenda. If you ask most Black people, what's the Black agenda? They don't know the Black agenda because it hasn't been properly defined, because Black folks haven't gotten together and said, no, what are the things that are important?
But you hit it though. We haven't gotten together because everyone's agenda in their life is different.
Absolutely.
Because we are truly living in a country, in a society as a people where our lives are now really far apart from each other. At one point, it was a nuclear type of agenda. We knew we were all battling the same thing. Even if you were passing or you weren't passing, whatever, you're still battling the same thing. Right now, with opportunities and things that happen, and Jefferson's a great example. You moving on up, and you forgot where you came from. In that episode when he had to go back, it's like, oh, you remember this? He forgot where he came from because you moved on up, and then you moved to the east side, and you forgot. So all it was I want to show you I can get this, and I can obtain these things. But at the end of the day, Archie still treated George, like he was a Black man. Archie ain't give a damn what you clean as you got. It doesn't matter. So no matter how much money we make, whatever we do, we're still going to be treated a certain type of way. And I'm tired of cheerleading the ones who so-called get it. I don't give a damn if you get it. Thank you. Go take care of your people.
Right. That's good.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But once we band together and realize my plight is not heavier than yours, it's all a plight. It's all on there. What's the collective word? What's the one word that makes all of this? Oh, the one phrase that's our agenda. What's the one battle that we're battling? And it's more than one war. It's a war, and we got multiple battles, and we have to go through those things. Yeah. But let's move on to something a little bit different.
Okay, let's do it.
I know you want to get real heavy because I feel it in your spirit.
I'm not trying.
I appreciate it. It's a great conversation. We can always come back to it. Absolutely. So right now we're all quarantined, and the show you wanted to do with me was almost like a battle of the sexes thing, right?
Yes.
I don't know why folks want to always battle me when it comes to this. I don't know what's the big deal is battling Earlene with the battle of the sexes. I don't know why. So you're married, right?
I am.
Yes. So I really want to talk about, I don't know why people are so intrigued with relationships, and that's the biggest thing. And you can put any topic up social media on a poll, it gets little play. But you put up relationships, or men do and women do, and people just jump all over it, right?
100%.
So before all of this, before the whole quarantine, women used to get major slack behind how we maintain ourselves and how we maintain our beauty, from nails and hair and makeup. And men were like, man, I don't know why you need all that, blah, 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 la, 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 all that foolishness. Your nails done is not important. You know, you're doing too much, whatever, right? Quarantine hit, and y'all can't get a line up or an edge up, and y'all losing y'all motherfucking mind.
Listen, no, hey.
Looking real grizzly, looking real rough. And
actually,
it's like, oh, so now we see the maintenance has been a mutual thing. I mean, it may not have been as heavy. It's a mutual thing.
Yeah, it okay. So let's talk about that, right? So the issue is I think that we finally do feel your pain, right? So I think that, if I'm gonna be honest,
and I really want to talk about women of color get so. Let me finish this. And
okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you rock. Go ahead.
I will let you unleash. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
And women, we get this from men and women, from the naturals to the not to whatever. Okay. Y'all just need to. I'm natural. I'm whatever. Y'all do too much. Whatever. Everyone right now is feeling it, because I have seen more with my eyebrows. Everybody. No, you talk about the folks who have the face beat, all that kind of stuff, and whatever. Yeah. It's so funny to me.
A lot of the face beat girls are struggling right now.
They're struggling.
Right now.
Hey, listen, I walked in this quarantine one way, I'm walking out the exact same way, because I didn't do all that.
All right, there you go.
I thought a wig on and be rolling out. Real
talk that talk.
Been doing my own stuff for years, whatever. But what I find funny is those same guys, those same people who would like, I don't know why y'all think I need all that. That's not important. Blah blah blah. Now, looking like Grizzly Adams. Looking like 1980. No edge up on that beard. Okay.
Listen.
No beard oil is exhausting.
It's essential. Yeah, listen.
Looking real ashy.
Whoa, hold on now. See, I'm not gonna let you continue to do this, because we gonna stop right there.
We're gonna pause.
We're gonna pause real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
See, the thing about it is this. See, a lot of people have realized that the chick they thought was so fine, when the makeup came off and she wasn't able to prepare. Right, you know what I'm saying? When beauty supply refused to continue to open, and the government shut them down, it changed things. You know, we considering some new, divorce is gonna be at an all-time high when we get out of this. Relationships gonna be done. Some people don't even realize that their relationship already done. They just waiting for quarantine to lift. So right. So yes, this is gonna be a problem. I will say this for us though, we didn't realize that we were kind of in the same boat as y'all, especially the men, you know what I mean? Because we were like, all right, cool, you got to do the extras. Like, you can't get your feet done, big deal. You can't get your nails done, big deal. But when the barbershop closed, yeah, I mean, right here in the soul, when the barbershop closed and you hit your boy and he's like, yeah, I'm not cutting this week. And you're like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? You start seeing things out of whack, and
that hair in places are coming in.
Listen, you know what I mean?
Your stuff really don't connect. It ain't
the widow's peak. You know, I was like,
it's not quite. The waves ain't quite right.
Right. So let me tell you a story, man. So so I actually risked my life though, and I went to go get a cut. So this is not a fresh cut, but this is a cut that is during quarantine. I risked my life, and I'll tell you why I did it. So I woke up on a weekend, like Saturday. Rolled over, and my wife was like, so you sure your guy's not cut? I was like, what you mean? She was like, no, I mean, you cool and everything, but
you cool and everything.
Yeah, so like that's like she's like, yeah, you cool and everything, but and she just kept shaking. She did one of these. She balled her hand and she was like, No, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. And so if you had seen me a couple weeks ago before she told me to go get a haircut, it was a tragic scene. It was a tragic scene. And so I feel for all my brothers right now. And I want to apologize on behalf of all Black men. Apologize to our sisters and our queens, our Black women. We love you. We apologize for complaining because we didn't know that in the depths of our souls that like we need grooming. Okay. And even though you guys may take it a little bit further than we do, I had one dude hit me on the phone and he was crying. He was like, bro, I can't even get on the FaceTime, bro, because I'm like, I ain't getting nothing, but the way my hair looks, I'm like, oh, man.
The layer of that is, let me say this, okay? On both sides of it, this is exposing genuine shit. And what I mean by that is those who have natural communication skills and talent and creativity are flourishing. If you are that person who lead by looks and pocketbook, you are not doing well right now.
This is true.
Because
this is true.
If you need your pocketbook to make you feel important and you have to floss to feel important, you are losing right now. If you are that person who needs them lashes and needs and are not able to do it yourself, what I mean by that is you don't have the skills to do it yourself.
Yeah.
You are if all you felt you had that made you who you were or are was the vanity items, you are losing right now. You're blessed because you're married and you have a wife, so you're not trying to impress anyone brand new, even though she told you with like this.
Right, the hand did.
You
come.
About to lose me, pimping. I need you to answer that shit up. I need some eye candy in quarantine. Okay,
no, truly,
because clearly
truly,
you lost the skills back in the day when you had to do it yourself. So I don't understand how us, as resourceful as we are as a people, are not able to do what we did back in the day, right?
So no, well, hold on now. Hold on. I don't think you want a whole bunch of Black men cutting their own hair and giving themselves fades. I don't think you want that. I'm trying to tell you, if you've been on the Shade Room or any of these other blog sites or whatever the case would be, and they've been showing people try to do it with the razor or do it with the clippers and they fade. Y'all, ladies, y'all don't want that. Y'all don't. I'm trying to tell you, you don't want.
But see, that's the same thing where men say, y'all don't know we want, ladies. Y'all think we want all that. We don't want that. Well, what men are doing, what we get blamed for, what we get put down for, y'all just for yourself. We don't care about that. Yes, you do. You care if my wig is crooked. You That's care true. If my twist ain't right. If That's my true. Curls are not juicy, if I ain't put enough juices and berries in the natural.
Not juices and berries in the natural.
If my eyebrows are booger wolf, you gonna be like this. Damn, baby, you gonna take that unibrow? You gonna care if this stash come through? Let's keep it.
Wait, hold on. The stash better not come through. Now hold on. Now timeout. Flag on the play. 15-yard penalty. The stash come through. That's gonna be an issue.
But I'm just saying. You know, y'all have ingrowns. You all need to take care of stuff. Some of y'all using some paint to make y'all stuff connect.
Nah, start with the paint, fellas. Don't do it. Let it go if you have to.
Some of y'all dyeing your beard, which I cannot stand. What I'm saying is the vanity goes both ways, right? Yeah. It's just different. There's more to us to maintain than it is for y'all. That's why it takes more time. And granted, a lot of things that we do may only be for us because we assume and we think it's what you like. And some of us don't listen and take heed to what men say, but at the end of the day, if we looking real blotchy and real, booger wolf.
I like this booger wolf.
Because the thing about it is, in men are visual, and please correct me if I'm wrong. So you meet me like this. If this is how you meet Erlene, right? This is how you met Erlene.
Right.
And all of a sudden through quarantine, even though tooting my own horn, I'm pretty fucking hot with or without this. I'm just 100.
Gosh.
I have photos of myself.
Listen, talk your talk. Talk your talk. I'm not gonna get in your way.
Talk my talk.
I'm not gonna get in your way. Talk your talk.
I'm just saying though, is the reality is we as women have to be more comfortable with showing our mates the natural.
Agreed.
And men
Agreed.
have to also be comfortable to accept that and show women the natural. Because when things happen, you may or may not be able to do the vanity things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? People have lost their jobs. That's all luxury to go get your nails done and your feet done by a pedicurist or a manicurist or getting your lashes put on. That's all luxury items
Hmm.
that
But
you maintain yourself.
I also think this too, if I can say so. I think that we have to also be honest as well on both sides when it comes to the vanity thing. Because I listen, you know, I tell my wife all the time. I say, listen, I love when you get fly, when you get done up, and you know, she loves the whole dress thing, and that's great. Then I love seeing women do that as well. At the same time, though, I just feel like don't deceive me. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
one of the things that I do early on is any woman I've ever talked to, you know, prior to me settling down, I would always tell them, I was like, hey, listen, at some point early on, I would love to see you without makeup
Yeah.
because I don't need the shock. I don't need the shock
Yeah.
of not knowing what's under there when you take the makeup off. I don't need that, right?
Yeah.
Just like I can't just like let's say I didn't have my hair, right? But every time you see me, I had a full head of hair because I had the barber paste my stuff at the top, and everything that I was missing up here was actually bald. But I got a mohawk now. You know what I'm saying? So you love a mohawk. Imagine if I never told you, and one day when I was like a pandemic hit and I'm not able to go to the shop, and you realize I got the George Jefferson cul-de-sac, you're gonna be hurt. And then you're gonna feel like our whole relationship is built off a lie, right?
And I
In the
also
same
think the reason I think the issue comes into how men communicate that though. It's not that it's you no longer feel like I can trust who you are. We have to stop saying it's a lie and because baby, are you not comfortable to show me who you are outside of that? When you frame it
okay.
like that,
Mm-hmm.
are you not comfortable to show me the other you? This is
That's
all
good.
you. Glam
That's
you,
good.
lay back you, it's all you. But why are you not comfortable to show me that?
That's good.
And
That's
plus,
good.
men are so visual, even how they react when you do see the cornrows underneath the braid, underneath the sewing. Y'all like, I had to tell, you had to tell someone. I said, I'm not an insecure person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I find comfort in being able to be myself totally with someone. Like this is who Erlene is. I love to be able to be comfortable and speak my mind and
Right.
myself. But if I
Right.
feel there's judgment in your reaction, I shut down. That goes for men and
Mm.
women. You don't want to be judged because we all have some little bit of insecurity that may have been from childhood or whatever that you're not really happy with, whatever it may be. So as a woman, and you've always been told, that goes back into what's been planted in you, you must keep yourself looking good all the time. You must always look presentable, always
Right.
be eye candy because you're
Mm-hmm.
putting that forward first. I don't care how you were economically growing up. Our mothers told us, be presentable all the time, young lady.
Mm.
Be presentable. Men, work hard, get some money, settle down. Y'all weren't
Absolutely.
told to be presentable.
That's
You were
true.
told if your job was right and your money was right, you'll get the woman, you'll have a family, you're good. We were taught to know how, and this is, I'm not saying everyone, but following people, we were taught to learn how to make sure you're pleased, not ourselves. Make sure we can keep a home for you and raise your children, right? And make
Mm-hmm.
sure you always look presentable and be able to talk about things and be presentable. That's across the board. And I think it's a European standard, honestly. But even if you look at
Mm.
other cultures, the way men and women hunt is differently. But at the end of the day, in African cultures, ethnic groups, women did certain things to be recognized a certain type of way. And men did things to be recognized, either as a warrior, as a hunter, whatever it is. You do things, right? But if what I'm doing is judged because you can't always be on. Like that episode when Whitney and Dwayne got married, and she woke up every morning and brushed her teeth, pinched her cheeks, brushed her hair, and laid back down. And he was like, "You're always so beautiful." She was working so hard to look like
Right.
Whitney because
Mm-hmm.
think about who her mom was in the show. Presentable all the time. Southern Belle, you better keep it together, honey. Diane Carroll wasn't playing. You better keep it
Absolutely.
right. And when she
Absolutely.
finally overslept
That
and
was
couldn't
it.
do it,
That
and
was
he
it.
was like, you saw his reaction?
Oh yeah. Right. Right.
And he didn't mean
Absolutely.
it like that, but it was like, because he's
Yeah.
always seen Whitley look like Whitley.
Yeah.
Dress,
Yeah.
little suit, skirt, blouse, hair pulled
Yeah.
back, looking amazing. So I think it's all about accepting that, baby, this is not, I want to see you not always on. And one thing with me, I have no problem.
Oh Lord. Good.
I have no problem showing with no lipstick on, no eyeliner. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, I want you to see me when I'm working in the yard. I need you to see me.
Right. But that's the thing though. That's the thing. I think that there needs to be that conversation needs to be had similar to, all the conversations when you think about getting serious with a person, whether that be finances,
But
etc.
it has to,
I think
it can't happen with judgment. Men right now are so judgmental in their attack on the standard of beauty that we have.
okay.
You know what I mean? Why you
Okay.
need weave? Why you need that? I want to change my. Black women have changed their hair all the time, be it a wig, a weave, a
Mm.
headdress. That's what we do. We were shunned for
Well,
doing
let
it.
me speak to that real quick though. Let
Go
me say
ahead.
this. I think that you're right, right? I would never argue with you. Obviously, you have an experience, you have the experience as a black woman, so it would be wrong for me to say no, that's not true. But I do think, and maybe you can probably agree on this and even speak to it, that the European standard has been so prevalent, even as it pertains to how it's enforced in the workplace, the opportunities that black women get presented with when they wear their natural hair in the workplace, all of that good stuff. It's been called not professional. Dreads have been outlawed, all that good stuff. So, if anything, there should be some encouragement in the fact that black men in particular are telling black women, "Hey, be natural, be don't feel as though you need to doll up and because of some standard that you've learned or because of that thing that was perpetuated in society that told you that you yourself weren't beautiful all by yourself or in and of yourself. Don't do that." So I think that I do think that we like the dolled up look. Obviously, I don't know a man who really doesn't. But I also am loving the trend that black men are reinforcing to black women. Like, yeah, we do like dolled up. We're not gonna sit here and lie to you. At the same time, I do want you to be you without feeling like if I don't put on, that I'll be loved less or
But
that
I
I'll be
think
treated less because society's done that.
women have to also acknowledge that we're really not doing this for y'all.
That's true too.
Um, Men don't care about the beat down makeup face. Hair may be different because men have preference on things,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it comes down to encouraging and nurturing in your woman or in women that, listen, I want you comfortable, because when you're
Mm-hmm.
comfortable, you shine.
Mm.
Your comfort shines bright. So whatever is comfortable for you, I want you to do that. But we have to also realize as women, what we may do, he may not like, and that may not be the one for us.
True
Just
too.
like if you like a woman who is not relaxing her hair, is not wearing makeup, you should not even open your mouth and comment on someone who wears a weave and wears makeup. If that's not your jam, why are you commenting on it? Why are you even degrading it? Why are you downing it?
I
So I
agree with
think
that too.
for a
I'm
woman,
rocking
if
with that.
you want to be natural, either you have your locks, your sister locks, you rocking your fro, whatever it is, and that's what you choose to do, how dare you down? Oh, you trying to be white? First of all, leave
Well,
me
well, yeah,
alone.
that assumption is terrible. And speaking down on a woman for that is terrible. But I do think, though, I, I'm not saying that you're saying this. I would just say that we can't act as though there wasn't pressure on our sisters to not present themselves that way.
Absolutely.
And so there is a reinforcement from Black men that are saying, look, man, like, I don't know. Maybe it's wrong of us to assume, and I'm obviously I'm not doing that, but it's wrong for some of us out there to assume that you're doing it for that reason. However, it's not the craziest thing in the world when literally we got Lisa Ray, who was literally on a talk show the other day, pretty much saying that the Kardashians and white folks are responsible for the new look of the Instagram model and things of that nature. Like, we understand where it comes from, and we know that there's also been pressure for Black women to look a certain way, or else they weren't considered beautiful or equal or pretty or things
and
of that
I
nature.
agree with you, but what also has to happen is men of color have to realize we need, like you said, your support, because we have been attacked for our looks from the time we set foot in this country.
That's good.
It
That's
has
true.
been forced for you to wrap your hair because we don't want anyone because we're unique, we're beautiful, we had never been seen before. And I don't like the word exotic, but when those white men saw us with color fed by the sun, skin looking amazing, strong muscle, because we were side by side working and warring and doing what we had to do with our men, breast and hips and waist, and something that you didn't see before. Women who are not of color made sure that we were suppressed and put down. We had to wear head wraps for a very long time. You didn't want anyone seeing it, especially if you were of mixed race. You didn't want anyone seeing what you look like. So why should you now make me feel even worse when you have to realize this has been planted in us that our looks are not good enough? It is only a new thing for us to truly now accept our natural beauty.
Truly. But I think Black men are saying, we want you to truly believe that too.
So but it has to be said differently.
Agreed. No, I agree. It does have to be said differently. But I do think that with anything that's said statement wise, the heart should always be investigated. So if I tell you, listen, you don't need to put on the weave. You don't need to put on the wig. Don't hear that and say, you're downing me for putting on the weave or wig. Hear that. Why don't you ask me, wait, what do you mean by that? Because you may come to find that what I'm actually saying is, Arlene, I don't want you to think you have to do that to be beautiful. If you want to rock your natural ponytail, do it, and you were still as fly as you were before you put on the weave or the wig. Now, then I think you would be able to receive that differently. Now, for someone like you or anybody else who struggles with that, is it plausible or better for us to want to maybe put it or frame it in a way that someone can understand? 100%. But I think we look to take it negatively rather than maybe saying that, wait, our brothers are actually trying to encourage us. We may need to investigate this a little bit deeper to find out what's actually being said when they say certain things.
Also, it comes into educating yourselves, because there's a lot of women out here who men do not understand protective styles and what that means.
That's true.
The work that goes into having unrelaxed, unchemically treated hair. It takes more work. It takes more moisturizing. A lot of them don't understand. And also understanding that before we had a voice, there was things being done to our heads that may have caused permanent scalp damage, that our hair may not be as health. It's not just hair, it's scalp health as well, skin health as well, that may cause an issue. Alopecia doesn't have to be because we were pulling our hair or because our mom pulled our hair so tight when growing up. We may not have edges ever. There's things that you and that was out of our control. So when you make us feel bad about these things and you don't realize that I feel comfortable covering it because the reality is I'm not ready yet to reveal the scars or what I was made fun of when I was growing up. The same, so it's like there's so many layers to Black women's beauty Because one, we get made fun of for the size of our nose, the gap in our teeth, the way our eyes are shaped, our skin color, our hair may not flow the way other people flow, all these things. So we're battling a different battle. And instead of being on the side of criticism, be on the side of understanding. And let's not judge each other. You know what I mean?
That's good.
Because there's plenty of y'all out there with this cone head, and y'all needed that flat top back in the day.
That's a fact. That's a fact. No, I think that education definitely could be beneficial for sure. Especially when you think about sometimes we just think that, or sometimes it can be assumed that Black women don't, because they've been marginalized and that there's been an oppression toward them, they don't necessarily even realize their own beauty, even though they're fighting for it. But a lot of the things you just named, such as what you guys have to go through, even from a from your hair to your makeup to things of that nature, like it is something that we could be educated on to bring in how you hear it versus how we bring it to you and present it. And I think that's what we find.
And we as women have to stop listening so defensively. We tend to listen very defensively, and
because you expect critique,
and we're ready for an attack. Like, oh, what you about to say? And also plays in the fact of, as women, and this is for all women, our bodies change every year of our lives, and women have children, and their hormones are out of whack, and they may lose hair, and it may never come back. The health of you lose nutrients with every child, and you have to replace it. That's why we take those prenatal vitamins and stuff. So our bodies change. What may have been one thing is like, wait a minute, I'm it's not, I don't look the same. And who you met before is not the same person I'm coming out of it. And you're trying to hold on to what you may be used to. And then you not knowing how to encourage and acknowledge. And some men are very visual. Some men will tell you straight up. I mean, I've had a friend of mine say when he got married, his wife cut her hair, she had long hair, she cut her hair after they had their first child. And it could have been because her hair was shedding. You never know. And he's like, you better buy a wig, put a wig on. I'm like, you told her that? He's like, yeah, I don't like short hair. I'm like, well, damn. I mean,
yeah, gotta be a better way to present that. And again, it's a sensitive subject. That's crazy. That's wild.
Actually. I was like, damn. You have no idea where she may have been going. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Shall I Proceed. Myself and Kenneth had an amazing conversation. We had a few tech difficulties, but great information, great dialogue. Thoroughly enjoyed him coming on. He will be on the show again. His podcast is called the Matt Black Podcast. He does that with Jess Mack as well. They're on YouTube, Spotify, Google, SoundCloud, anywhere you can find podcasts. Tune into his show. I love their mantra, teaching culture through redeem urban lens. And then also, if it's in the culture, it's going to be in the show. Please tune in and watch their show. Great content, thought-provoking, well thought out, amazing stuff. Follow them on Instagram at Matt Black Podcast. On Instagram, they're also on Facebook. So once again, thank you so much, Kenneth, for coming on. I truly appreciate the conversation, the dialogue. I had a really good time. Once again, follow this show on all major platforms. Video will be up on Facebook and YouTube at Shall I Proceed Podcast, and on Spotify, Google, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. On Apple, please review and rate the show. Leave your comments and concerns. SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, everywhere you can find a podcast, please tune in. Thank you so very much for tuning into the show about COVID-19 and society, and just about men and women and how we have to deal with things. Catch you next time. Mwah. Bye.